Listen, you looked me dead in my eyes and said you was taking one for the team. Take one for the team.
You were trying to save me, Chelsea.
I'd already taken one for the team. What's up, everybody, and welcome back for season 3 of the Loan Limit podcast. You know what? Let me just dust these cobwebs off real quick. It's been a minute. As we always do at the beginning of the season, this is where I question who I am. I think I'm your host, Chelsie. This hopefully is your host, Jay.
Hey.
What's up, everybody? Where you been? How your mom and them? What's good? What's new? What's popping?
Yeah. I feel like we took like a accidental longer than anticipated break, but I think it was needed. And
I think the white people call it a sabbatical.
Yes. I'm very glad it's back, though. I feel like I was in a bit of a reading rut. So I think I needed the podcast to help, like, spark that. Get back into it with reading and stuff. I looked at, like, the books I did for the year. And I was like, that's it? And I was like, oh, I got to get to reading.
I feel like my reading goes in seasons. Mm-hmm. Like, when it's cold outside, I'm in the house reading. Don't call me.
Reading, yep.
But when that sun is out, and it's summertime, the only thing I want to see is Southwest or Delta, okay? That's all I'm looking for. I don't want to hear nothing about a book. But, you know, Jay, we had to come back. At this point, the world asked us to come back because there's just too much that's been going on, you know?
The streets is popping left and right. Even I know stuff that's going on. That's how you know.
Listen, we've been at book festivals. We've had authors implode their own careers. Books are being banned left and right. And then also, we've got some of the hottest drops of the year happening right now. It's a lot. It's a lot happening right now. She looks confused by what books are coming out. No idea what you're talking about. All right. Well, it's a good thing we got a podcast because we got lots to talk about, lots to see, lots to do. I don't know. I'm not going to lie to y'all. The caffeine has not kicked in yet. Okay? To my ADHDers, you know what it's like to drink an energy drink and take a nap. Okay? So, we going to make it do what it do. Now, Jay, you and I discussed skipping book recs this episode because there's just a lot to catch up on right now, right?
Yeah.
So I think we left the people right as we went to Black Romance Book Fest of 2025. I think that's the year we're in.
Yes.
Scale of 1 to 10, what would you give it?
I think it's solid, like 7.5, 8.
That's fair. I would definitely give it an 8. Honestly, it's just the crowds of people that took it down a notch. The people who put it on, fantastic. They worked their butt off. Yes. The options that were available.
It wasn't the crowds itself. It was the
crowd management.
I don't want to say lack of... It was the crowd management that I think knocked it down. But I think the festival itself, the experience, the authors they put on, the events they put on, all of that, very high. But it was just some of those little things and honestly missing a few things because there was a little bit of a where should I be? Where is this kind of happening? But yeah, I think that's sort of like on the cusp of a 7.5 and 8. But for me, I think it was an 8 experience wise. But in terms of a few things that I missed and some of the just confusion, kind of 7.5 side.
Yeah, I would say for y'all who don't know what we're talking about, go check out their Instagram, BRBF. Black Romance Book Festival. Tickets are sold out for 2026. Them things went like hotcakes, okay? Them things flew out the window like someone throwing a chair at a Waffle House. But if you like what you see, go ahead, check them out for 2027, okay? I think I might make a reappearance in 2027. I personally chose not to go to 2026 just because I needed to take a year off. I don't do well in large crowds. It makes me cranky. I shouldn't be around that many people when I'm cranky. If you've seen The Hulk, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I agree. I too took off 2026. I do know a couple people that are going, and I'm very excited to hear back from it. Like, I'm hearing a lot of things that they have planned. Like, I'm keeping an eye on it. I have not abandoned the festival at all. I just wanted to give it a year to kind of let them refine a couple of things. And from what I was seeing in terms of the authors, it looks like they did have some that are coming back, and then a lot of other new ones, and then, you know, some other big name ones. So I kind of feel like skipping it for a year, I should maybe be able to go back again. Maybe some authors from before coming back because they'll have new releases, all that thing.
Definitely.
But I feel like it's really a cool event. But yeah, the way it sells out is like scary. Like, like it's in a good way, sure, but it also just lets you know that like there's gonna be no breathing because it's gonna be fully packed. And that was the part that wasn't the best.
I also just need some time to get my coins saved back up because them ticket prices went up. And I said, what do you mean? Like, no. Yeah. My savings has its own checking and a savings account right now. So I'm going to need...
Also, it was one of those things where, like, meeting some of my favorite authors, having conversations with them, all those things, great. I also left that book festival exhausted. And I also think about that. Like, I feel like I don't like to feel exhausted at the end of a trip. I like to feel, like, satisfied, maybe a little rejuvenated and, like, excited. And I was kind of just, like, spent. Like, I didn't even want to go to the airport. I was just tired. So, like I said, give it another year to refine it. And, like, I have some stuff, like, hanging around now that are, like, from the festival. I have some stuff behind me. The time was had, for sure. And I think
I'm still working my way through that stack of books
this year. Yeah, I think they're going even bigger this next coming year. So, but I would like to be there for 27. I just want to see like the changes they make.
Definitely. What else did we do? Because we took the summer. We were supposed to take a break, but we didn't really take a break. So I'm trying to think of what else we did. We went to the Rocky Mountain Readers Retreat, which was in Denver. I'm really sad this one won't be coming back in 2026, but I would say stock their page anyways because they might be back in 2027. You never know.
Yeah, and this is a festival where, for me personally, I think it's the best book festival experience I've ever had, and I think that stemmed a lot from like the creators birthing that event from not having great experiences otherwise, and I think they really did a great job of fixing the things that they didn't like in other things.
Definitely.
Saying all to say, yes, they're not coming back for 2026, but I think they needed a break because I didn't think they were expecting it to be as popular and loved as it was. Yeah. I would say for that festival, if it was every other year, I'd be so happy.
Like I give it a 9 out of 10. And really that extra point just is taken away because at dinner I had to listen to grown men read smut through a microphone, and I'm going to tell y'all right now, that wasn't secondhand embarrassment. That wasn't firsthand embarrassment. That was just embarrassment for me.
It was uncomfortable.
Here's the thing. Don't get me wrong. The guys who read the books, great voices. One of them actually is Tamlin in the graphic audio for ACOTAR. I love his voice. He was very funny. He almost stole my bonnet. So if you see this, homie, I miss you. But our whole table was like, don't make eye contact because none of us wanted that spotlight on us. But other than that, it was great. They factored in sleepy time so you could go rest and recover. They fed us the entire time. No complaints. The people were sweet. We never waited longer than 5 minutes in a line. It was honestly.
And then they had like things in place too so you could be in multiple lines if you needed to, which was fantastic.
Bracelet system is fantastic.
They fixed a lot of things. It felt intimate, but not like intrusive. Like I don't feel like we were on top of the authors, but I still felt like we had a good amount of access to them, especially like even at the dinner portion and things like that. Like, again, this was a situation where I got to talk to some of my favorite authors and it was phenomenal. And I got to meet some new ones that I didn't know before going. So it was a really good, and it was small. It was an intimate thing, but it was really, really great. Definitely. And so I think it was by far the best book festival experience I've had.
Definitely.
And also Denver Was it great of a host city as well? Y'all know I'm a sports fan, so got to see some stuff in the city. Great food.
Y'all, I kidnapped her. I took her for food. I took her for baseball. She had never been before. I said, just let me handle it. And the whole time she was like, oh my God, this is great.
Yes. And look, while we were at one game, there was another game in the stadium, like right across the way. And so for me, I'm like, if you get me with sports, food, and art, your city, you have
books.
So, word. So I actually really loved it. I definitely want to do Denver again. I want to go when I also have some time to do some like nature stuff because I know it's very naturally beautiful in Colorado.
That won't be with me, y'all. That will not be with me.
But it is a little sports town and the food was popping. Definitely going back. So I really enjoyed that.
Although Denver, you got rid of your waffle and dingus, and that hurt. That hurt on a level you cannot understand. But I'm gonna let it go though. Okay, I'm gonna let it go. Now, Jay, while we have been on sabbatical, okay, I watched the author destroy her career.
Which one?
Her name is Jessa Hastings, if I am saying that correctly.
Okay, I'm unfamiliar. Catch me up.
Yeah, so she's the author of the Magnolia Parks series. Yes, it is Jessa Hastings. I just double checked it. Now, another author got in trouble for using AI in their books. Right? That's author A.
Wow. Okay.
Author B, Jessa Hastings, felt like she needed to dip her toe in this argument and decided to be pro AI. It told people they were stupid for not supporting AI.
Okay, girl. I don't agree with you, but okay, girl.
Now, if that wasn't enough, old tweets and threads and comments have come back to show she has no problem saying some nonsense on the internet about the N-word, racist remarks. This is all alleged, okay? No one sue me for this. This is the internet speaking. Now, watching an author implode their career is crazy to me.
Right.
Because your dog was in none of those fights. And you felt the need to join.
To insert yourself.
But if we just focus on her comments about being pro AI in writing. I need to know. Share your thoughts, please. Because I have some. And I can't wait to share. But I'm going to let you have the floor first.
I mean, I feel like I'm as vocal as I can be about how, I don't want to say anti-AI because that's not my stance. I don't like AI in spaces that has natural human elements ingrained into it, if that makes sense. So for instance, and honestly, even when we use like AI as like an assistant, right? Like that used to be a human's job. So I don't really love when it's taking the place of things, and that is the reality of just where we are today. But when it comes to things being created, then I'm super like, yeah, I really rather not. So whether that be art, in terms of a visual sense, in a written sense, as a visual. When I say visual, I mean like literally like video, like editing and stuff like that. I'm not the biggest fan. And not just because those are someone's jobs, but I just feel like the human element adds the part that makes it art, where it's subjective and it has meaning and movement and all that stuff like that. And yeah, I'm not the biggest fan. When it comes to writers using AI, that's very shocking to me, because for me, if I hear that, I'm like, oh, they're researching something. And even then I think you should double check it. But if like,
you're using it to write your book,
like that doesn't sit well with me. Because at that point I feel like you shouldn't be able to publish that for profit, because as we know, AI is an open source. It pulls from some of the other things. Like, you are taking from other intellectual properties, other just things. It doesn't come from your own fruition. So I have issues with it. I know the literary world is still defining rules regarding how much, if at all, AI can be used in these things. I know that those are still kind of ongoing conversations. Same in the entertainment industry, but I'm not a fan. And it's really interesting to hear that like there's already an author that has published works with AI. Is oh, okay. I'm just not a fan.
Here's my thing. If you need to Google the spelling of a word to make sure you spelled it right, go off, sis. Do what you got to do. If you need to Google a word to make sure you're using it correctly, go off. Do what you got to do.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't buy your book to get a computer's version of what you have in your head. I bought your book because I liked your writing style. So why am I giving you money if you ain't do shit? Then you can leave that curse word in. Okay? Why am I giving you my money?
Beyond a
like
resource,
there's no point.
Yeah.
Like I like here's the thing. That is like asking for William Shakespeare and being given like the computer version of William Shakespeare. I didn't ask for the computer version of William Shakespeare. I asked for William. Yeah. Bill, where you at? Because I want your thoughts. I want your artistic style. I want the words written in the way that you would write them, not the way the computer thought you would write them. And at the end of the day, that's plagiarism. You're taking someone else's work, we'll use someone in this situation, and you're publishing it as your own and not telling us. So at that point, at the bare minimum, it's plagiarism. And you've now pissed me off because you have made me a part of your scheme that was set up by Todd, and I'm over it.
Now, I want to be very clear. Using AI or even any other assistance sources for like accessibility, because let's say you're like verbally dictating something and then it's recording what you're saying and writing it down. Yes, that is different. To me, that is still your own original thoughts. You're just using a thing for assistive reasoning.
Listen, if you got arthritis when you're using and you need help, there you go. You text to speech, all that. I get it. But if you were just letting that computer write the words for you and you ain't give it a single thought,
I feel like when the creator, when the computer, the software is creating, and it's not even creating, it's just recycling. But when it's populating words, statements, it's like it's populating things for you, that's where I'm kind of like, that's not assisting, it's doing the thing, and then now it's no longer your original thought coming out.
Also,
I listen, maybe I'm being too harsh, I don't know.
No,
I know my
because I think it's real bold
popular
to let the computer do it and then you put your name on it. That's real bold. That's why not put the computer's name on it?
It's other people's work that the computer has then now gone through and the algorithm or whatever.
Exactly.
And now it's putting it back out, so it's not yours.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah. That's how I feel.
Yeah. I do want to get your feelings on something else.
Okay.
Now, for those of y'all watching and listening, this conversation actually made me question our friendship right out the gate. Episode 1, I'm already questioning things. Jay, let's have an in-depth conversation about what qualifies as spooky in your brain. Now, for context, y'all, we sat down and said, hey, this episode is going to come out during spooky season. Let's do something spooky. Mm-hmm. I said, lit. I'm in the mood for a thriller anyways. I need a little rush. We then quickly found out that we are not on the same page about what counts as spooky. And I was given a book with a cute cartoon cover. And the argument was it said dies in the title, so therefore it was spooky. So I'm not, anti your argument. I just need a little bit more to that argument, if you will.
To me, it is not an official definition, just to me. To me, spooky is anything that makes me go, oh, I can't read that right now. I try to go to sleep. Like anything that kind of invokes that response is spooky to me. And usually it's stuff where there's a body that was once alive and is now not. If there's anybody lurking through shadows, or a potential like killer on the loose. Mm-hmm. Also trying to figure out like who tried to kill somebody. Like mysteries also kind of give me spooky vibes too. Yeah.
You know, I thought I had broadened your horizons with Butcher and Blackbird, but it's clear I have more work to do.
Oh, you for sure have more work to do. But I feel like I have broadened my horizons, and I feel like I personally feel like I'm getting better. I don't know how it feels like on your end, but to me, I feel like I'm getting better.
I think today's book was a step in the right direction, because this accidentally got spooky.
What do you mean accidentally got spooky? I knew it was spooky from the blurb. What are you talking about?
Well, okay. Let's get into today's book.
All right, let's get into it.
I all of a sudden forgot the title, so y'all bear with me for like 5.2 seconds because my brain gave up. I got it. We're good. Thanks, Jay. I saw you waiting in the wings.
Yeah, I had it. Okay, go ahead.
Today's book is The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager. Now, if you read the blurb, it's just about a woman who has a house on a lake and she can see into her neighbor's house across the street. She thinks her neighbors have the perfect marriage until her little spying session starts to make her think otherwise. At least that is what just the blurb alludes to. Now, what we got was something different. Not different.
You didn't see what was coming?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Okay.
It was elevated more than the like simplicity I thought we were gonna get.
Got you. Okay.
Now, Jay, I know it's been a while, but I hope you wrote down the characters' names. I have what I think the characters' names are.
I have some of them.
But it's about to get real questionable real quick in this play-by-play.
Okay.
So for those of y'all who have not read the book, it's told in a very funky timeline.
Thank you for acknowledging that, because I thought I was going crazy.
Maybe because I have the physical book, it makes it a little bit more understandable.
Okay.
So the author wrote it in sections of before a specific event, after a certain event, and during a specific event.
And then also, yeah.
So there's like one event in a timeline of events that all the segments are based off of. So.
Okay, yes.
Casey is an actress that is out of work due to her alcoholism. And has gone...
Sorry. That's not funny. Just the way you said it made it.
It's the truth. So she has been sequestered in her family lake house until she can essentially dry out, aka stop the binge drinking.
Yeah.
While chilling on the lake, she hears someone scream and then sees someone drowning in the lake. Our out of work actress feels the need to be a good Samaritan and hop on her boat and go save this woman. Mm-hmm. That woman's name is Catherine, from what I remember.
Yes, Catherine Royce.
Catherine is a supermodel, straight out of New York City.
Former.
Okay. You're still an Olympian, even if you're former.
She made a point to say that she was a former. She was like,
all right, she's a retired supermodel.
Okay.
I don't care. It's not important. So Casey saves her and gets her back across the lake. And they all of a sudden become the best of friends when Catherine and her husband, Tom, who, I don't care, Tom, I don't like you, come over to say thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Right off the bat, red flags everywhere. You know what? That's what I need for this show, is just a red flag to wave.
Okay.
Now, Catherine gets in this boat with Casey and says, thank you, I don't know what happened. Now, Catherine and Tom come over to say thank you with these, like $55,000 bottle of wine. Why you would buy that and share that?
$5,000.
Yeah,
two $5,000 of bottles of wine.
Right off the bat, I don't like Tom. Okay? I don't like you. I don't like the way you talk to your wife, especially in front of other people. I don't like you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Tom serves these bottles of wine, and he's trying to control how people drink it, as if we're at a wine tasting. Sir, you came to my house to say thank you. I didn't ask for extra work. But also, if you know who I am and you know I have alcohol problems, why'd you bring me alcohol? Questions that need to be answered.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in the middle of drinking, Catherine basically falls out. Passes out. Very weird. One glass gets smashed. And instead of being concerned for his wife, Tom makes the decision to belittle her.
Yeah.
And I said, wow, we're at strike number 2 already. We weren't even 40 pages in, and I already was like, I hope you are the bad guy in all of this, because you got to go.
Okay.
Now, the next morning, Casey goes out to clean up the broken wine glass and finds residue of wine, but also a salty-looking substance, and does not question anything.
She was also kind of drunkish when this happened.
Jay, I don't care how drunk I am. I can tell when something's wrong.
Okay.
And if you are this advanced into your booze situation, like Casey was, where she had a whole schedule of, at this time you start with this kind of drink, don't forget to hydrate at this time, we're gonna have coffee at these times. She just was not observant, because I remember texting my cousin at this point and going, this woman being poisoned and ain't nobody care. Did you think something was odd at this point?
Yes.
She says with a question mark.
Okay, so... Okay, hold on. The way the book starts, it was a little off-putting for me, because, and not in a bad way, but just the way it started, I was kind of like, oh, wait, it started? And I was like, oh, this is what we're starting with? Like, I didn't feel like I got, like, eased in. I feel like we just started with trauma. Now, I don't think that's a bad thing. I don't think it's a bad thing, but I just feel like we started with trauma. So for you to be like, were you like suspicious? Yes, I was suspicious from page 1, because I had a homegirl end up in the water. So it was just a lot. Like, and then I decided I wasn't going to approach this how I approached the other thriller we did. I forget the name. Where I was like looking at it like a detective. I was like, I'm not doing that this time. I refuse to be a detective this time. So I really just kind of went with vibes and just tried to remember when things happened and when they did. And yeah, I thought it was very, very weird when Casey found Catherine in the middle of the lake, and Catherine was very adamant about, like, I can swim the distance of the lake there and back, no problem. I do not know how or why I stopped in the middle and couldn't figure out, like, what was going on. So that was, like, my first kind of, like, that's weird.
Right.
My second that's weird was after Catherine went out on the boat to save Casey went on the boat to go save Catherine, was that she was like calling for help and no one was coming. And which, like, she explained that wasn't crazy because there wasn't a lot of people on the lake at this time anyway. But then for us later on to find out that there were a couple other people on the lake.
Okay.
And
well, that's moving into the future. Let's save that. Just in that moment as you read those pages, especially with Tom, were you suspicious of Tom?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I then became suspicious of Catherine. Because the next morning, Catherine magically has Casey's phone number. And even Casey makes a point of saying, I don't know how she got it.
Yeah, that was weird.
I said, that's weird. But Casey and Catherine become friends over the next couple of days. They text. She comes over. They have coffee. But Casey nosy. So she's still sitting there every night with her binoculars looking into this house, watching their whole relationship play out through glass windows. Also,
she was literally like watching reality TV in person. Yeah. Like, that's what she was doing.
Little silent movies. And you can see Catherine acting suspicious and avoiding her husband. It was these weird moments. They would get into an argument, and then she would just play it off, and they would go to bed. It was these weird moments. And then all of a sudden, Catherine comes up missing. And I said, he done killed her. He done killed her. So Casey is passed out drunk on the deck, and she hears what she thinks is a scream. But she's too drunk to figure it out. And then later on, the hot neighbor Boone, which why did we name a man Boone? I'll never understand. Automatically lost hot points there.
For sure.
He then basically sets Casey on this detective path of, all right, we both heard the scream. We think it's Catherine. This is what we got to do. Because Boone used to be a cop. I don't know if Boone knows that it's past tense, but it's past tense, sir. So,
and now he's kind of like the handyman / renovator of like the people on the lake.
So Catherine does what any white woman would do in this moment. She goes up to the husband and just outright accuses him of killing his wife. No finesse.
Yeah, that was stupid.
No care in the world. But here's the thing. Tom, if you're going to be a terrible husband, could you get better lies? Because he talked about, oh, she went back to the city, but the only car is still parked outside the house. Oh, I mean, she went via car service. Okay. Okay, that's great. Why is she not answering her phone? And if you gonna post a photo to her Instagram pretending to be her, maybe cover your tracks. Don't make it so obvious it's an old photo. Also, turn her cell phone off. Just turn it off. At this point, were you convinced that he killed her?
I didn't think that he killed her at this point, but I knew something was suspicious and he was involved.
Okay. I just knew that whatever was going on, Tom was involved. He had a hand in something. Yes. So, as Casey and Boone start working the case, there's a subplot introduced that there may be a serial killer in this little lake town. There are a couple of girls that have gone missing, and it's very odd. And Boone's friend from the force, Wilma, basically says, I think it's Tom. First off, Wilma, I don't like you. You need to work on your people skills. The way you talk to people is atrocious.
Right. I will say this, for like a small town, I was surprised that was like her energy, but I agree. She could have a little bit more tact.
Right. Finesse. Finesse is the word for this book. Y'all need to learn some finesse. Okay?
Yes. Now, here's the thing, and I never want to blame someone that's going through something and how they're coping. The thing that frustrated me with Casey is that she's trying to figure out what's going on with Catherine, all these things, yada, yada, yada. And she, like, not once let up on the drinking. And it's just like, now you know when you're talking to these cops and these other things that, like, they're dismissing what you're saying because of the fact that you're inebriated in these spaces. And it was just like, skip one.
Well, there is that conversation that her and Boone have after they go to, like, the little town merchant store. And he was like, when was the last time you had a drink? And she immediately realizes it's been hours. But now she's like, now that you've put that thought in my head, I can't let it go.
Right. But at the same time, I don't feel like she, like, obviously she wasn't not drinking on purpose. I think the only reason why she didn't have a drink, though, because she wasn't left alone in her house. Like, she was running, trying to find this. She was trying to sneak, you know what I mean? And it wasn't, I don't think it was on purpose in any way. I think she was just actively busy. So she didn't have time to drink.
I think it's a little bit of both.
Okay.
There are days where, like, she's too busy. Like, when Boone first comes over and you find out that he is actually sober, and he's a recovering addict as well, she struggles to not drink with him, and she ends up giving him ginger ale that's so flat and stale, which, if you've ever had flat ginger ale, just give up. All right? Just tap out at that point, you know. That is true. On those kind of days, she was just too busy. And then I think on other days, her focus on finding Catherine actually aided her in taking breaks from all the drinking. Now, I will agree, for somebody who was real determined to find a person who may have been killed, you kind of won all your faculties, ma'am. You didn't want all your faculties.
Point. That's my point. I am not judging her for drinking in any way, shape, or form. It was just one of those things where it's just like, literally, people are not taking you seriously because they are using this thing to dismiss what you're saying, and you're not even giving yourself or them the opportunity to be like, hey, I haven't had alcohol in X amount of time. This is actually what I experienced. Like, it's just kind of like, well, I guess I know I'm right, but they don't know I'm right, and it's whatever what it is, and where's the tequila? And it's like, come on. Girl.
Exactly. Now, for the audience, I will say, the first, 60% of this book is pretty slow. At least for me. So, Jay, stop me if there are any talking points that you want to hit. Because if not, I'm going to speed about 100 pages into the future.
Okay, I have a couple ones I want to hit. So Casey very early on says that Joan Crawford had a quote about drinking, and she was like, if you're a widow, an actor, or alone, then you probably are an alcoholic. And so Casey was basically like, great, I'm all of them, so this is why I can drink. And then Catherine, the day after Casey saved her on the boat, they were having, I think, coffee at the house the next morning, which I thought their little budding friendship I thought was absolutely adorable. And I really enjoyed that. But she specifically said, like, he, referring to her husband, Tom needs me too much. He would never kill me.
He needs my money.
He would never divorce me. He would kill me before he would do that because he needs her resources, name, all of that, stuff like that. Now, you were saying in terms of, like, if I was suspicious of Tom. So the reason why I was suspicious of Tom early actually didn't have anything to do with any of the, like, activities. I was suspicious of Tom from when Casey was giving us the backstory of Catherine getting married.
Oh, when she's running away.
Yeah, that whole, like, oh, she saw her on the billboard and she looked so full of life. And then when you look at her wedding pictures, it was not the case. And then as Catherine lets Casey know, like, the real reason why she stopped being a supermodel was because Tom wanted her to. And for me, that raises a couple of red flags. First and foremost, it seems like they don't have kids. So why are you stopping your wife's superstar career, especially if she's the primary earner? That's how you met her. Why are you trying to change her?
Because he has to put on this front that he's the breadwinner. So why is my wife working if I'm the breadwinner?
So, and I think it's very telling that just visibly, Casey being like, she looks so vibrant and full of life here. And in her literal wedding pictures, it didn't seem that way. And then when Catherine admitted the two things, which was she stopped modeling because her husband asked her to, and that also that he would kill her before any divorce or she could leave him. That was really the things that made me go, I don't like Tom. Whether I think he was capable of killing her or not, it was more so just that I didn't like that he just zapped the life out of my girl. And then I really didn't like that he was like Pink Panther creeping around his own house with his wife there. Like, those were the two, like, the things that were really like,
Okay. Any other notes?
The poison plot from the play. That was like my only other note.
Okay. So, once Catherine goes missing, Casey's on the job with Boone right beside her. But then we find out Boone ain't exactly as he seems. Turns out his wife is dead. Mysteriously fell down the stairs. He claims innocence. Things are a little suspicious. Page 219, I have the note of, I love having my suspicions confirmed, because Boone was everywhere. Boone was all up in these people's business. He was out here skinny dipping, hoping Casey was watching him. I knew that one. And then we find out that he may have had something to do with his wife's death. And I said, maybe if you mind your business, you know, your business would mind you. You had a thought?
I was also just like, didn't like that he hid that he knew Catherine.
Right. We're going to get into that.
Okay.
So, we get into this weird situation where Casey feels like she has to work the case alone because she can't trust Boone anymore. Eli disappeared. Eli is an old family friend that's been around for forever, but when all this starts to pop off, nobody thought to call him. Crazy.
I mean, he disappeared for kind of valid-ish reasons. He was getting, like, the stuff for the storm, no?
Yes. In that case, yes. But, like, overall, I'm calling him before I call the random handyman I just met 2 chapters ago.
True.
Like, this man has been at all her birthdays.
Ended up happening. I think the reason why that ended up happening, though, was just because Boone was the only one that could kind of, like, co-sign Casey's thoughts. Where Eli was like, I was asleep, I didn't see and didn't hear anything. Also, how much have you been drinking? So I really think that that's why that kind of happened. Which I thought was a smart writing incorporation. Because, yes, Eli makes the most sense. But Eli not being able to trust your judgment, you have to go with the next best thing, was the person that also witnessed it.
So, the investigation progresses. Tom basically puts his foot down and tells Casey to leave us alone. Now, mind you, Catherine is missing. So Casey goes, the hell you mean us? Yeah.
That us I thought was telling too. And it took Casey way too long to catch on to that.
I said, words mean everything. Boone and Casey are at odds, so now Casey's by herself, still watching the house. And she sees Tom prepare soup, pour it into a thermos, disappear into a neighbor's house. Personally, I would have been minding my business from the minute Catherine disappeared. But at this point, watching him walk into a neighbor's house, I really would have minded my business. I would not have been getting in my boat to go see what's popping over there. But I guess if you work in the case, you have to. Yeah, it's just the next part in the story. Now, this is where things started to get good for me.
Okay.
Because up to this point, it just felt very procedural. Okay, your wife went missing. The nosy neighbor is looking for her. You the suspect. the missing wife may have been having an affair with Boone, who should never have been named Boone. I'm sorry, Riley, if you see this. But Casey goes and she follows Tom into a very questionable house, and follows him down into the basement. Could never be me. Could never. I don't do basements, and I live in one. And this is where we find Catherine tied to a bed. And Tom fixes his lips to say, "That's not my wife." Now, as somebody who was listening mid getting ready to leave the house, I had one leg in my pants and just paused and said, "What do you mean? What do you mean?"
Yeah. I started to have a lot of like, wait, I'm sorry, what? Wait, what? Like, I'm starting to have a lot of those moments in this part of the book.
And then Catherine, who's tied to the bed, announces that it's Casey's dead husband, Lenny.
Mm-hmm.
And it is at this point where I then wrote a note. This is how hooked I was. I said, am I being gaslighted, or is it schizophrenia, or is Boone drugging her and not Tom? What is going on?
Okay, so my note was I kid you not, I'm sorry, what? Like, all caps. And I said, I'm sorry, what? And then I was like, I had to write this out because I was like, maybe I'm confused. So I was like, Leonard Bradley, the wife killed. Like, I was like, who? What? I was so like confused, and I was like, is he not dead? Is he dead? I was like,
and then when
she was like, oh, I'm dreaming. I was like, yes, girl, you must be in a drunk stupor somewhere because this don't make no sense.
The way I had to rewind and just stop all movement and just listen to make sure I was following it. And then I had to press pause on the audiobook, pull up the physical book, and then reread it with my eyes because I got so lost. And I said, maybe you're tired, Chelsie. Maybe you read it wrong yourself all 3 times. So Casey goes, all right, if you're Leonard, tell me something that only he would know. Catherine / Lenny fixed their lips to go, you murdered me. And I said, okay, now I'm confused. Is Casey murdering people too? Like, what happened? Because I thought she was a drunk. You can't be a drunk and a murderer. That's how you get caught. Make it make sense. I, at this point, got exhausted.
Really?
Not in a bad exhausted, but I was just mentally so tired of trying to follow the crime map. I said, I need a break. But this is where we start to get all the backstory to the chaos. And I have to say, on one hand, I loved the backstory to some of this chaos. And on the other hand, I did not enjoy the plot twist.
Interesting. So the skipping around of the timeline was confusing me because it was hard for me to keep track of what was active before. Like, that was hard for me to keep track a little bit. So I was a little confused by that. But for me, I felt like this is where, like, it was pure juiciness. Like, I didn't know what was coming next. I didn't know what was going on. I was locked in.
So Casey convinces Tom to leave her and Catherine / Lynn alone. Now, Tom, this time you just done pissed me off. I'm not even gonna lie. Because why the hell you gonna trust Casey to do as she promised after she done called the cops on you, accused you of trying to kill your wife, and all types of stuff. But you know what? Once again, couldn't be me. So
also, like, going into the basement with no kind of plan, and now you locked down there too. Girl!
So Casey and Catherine / Lynn now start having a conversation, and we discover that one trip out to the lake house, Casey and Leonard were having a cute little date night. And Casey goes down to the basement to get a lighter. and discovers clues that tie her man to the serial murders. That's the right phrase there. That have been happening in this quiet lake town. She finds the IDs of each of the girls with a lock of their hair. Why she touched it, I don't know. I would have never touched it. I would have seen it. Put it back. I'm not. No. Hello, 911? Please come get me. Don't get him. Just come get me. I don't want to be here anymore, all right? In the words of Patti LaBelle, I don't want to be here anymore. Okay? Mm-hmm. But Casey decides to wipe all fingerprints off of this evidence and hide it in paneling in the wall. And then she convinces her husband to go out on a boat. She's plied him with liquor and extra allergy pills. They go on the boat in the whole Little Mermaid kiss the girl moment, and she shoves him off the boat and says, I know what you did. Now, personally, I think it's the perfect crime. I think it's great. You did that one, Riley. You did that. And then she proceeds to let Eli think that her husband had just gone out fishing that morning and fell overboard. And they just said he had too much alcohol and too much allergy meds. He was probably drowsy and tipped over. Now, personally, I didn't buy it when it was first mentioned. I thought it was really weird. I was like, how did he fall over?
Okay, but then I had a little bit of questions about it, but I just didn't really do a deep dive. Yeah.
But then when she gave the explanation,
the reason why I didn't question it though was because like they did the investigation and it came back fine. Right. So
I just was really curious.
I had questions, but I was like, oh, okay, they investigated. So
well, in my head, I said he's dead. I ain't gotta worry about it. Let's move on to where the hell is Catherine. Little did I know I needed to worry about it. Once we finish this backstory segment, we then start this paranormal moment in the book where we discover that the spirit of Leonard is in Catherine's body. Because when she died in the drowning, the almost drowning in the water, he took over her body. Died. I don't know. At this point, I don't even know. I'm tired. We discover that Leonard said, I'm hitching a ride. So we in it together now. What were your thoughts when this is revealed?
I was confused, but I kind of just had to have an open mind. And I was like, okay, they told us, like Eli told us stories about the reflective on the lake and the trap stuff could get. So I was like, they set us up. It wasn't like completely random. They set us up with information throughout that some
it just didn't feel
soul stuff could be happening. The way I felt,
I know you were scared.
Yeah. No, not honestly. I was scared at different parts than I think what you would assume. I felt like I was reading rejected plot lines to Jane the Virgin. Like, I know that's so random, but that's what it felt like. Because remember, I don't know if you watched the show, but with Jane the Virgin, they had a lot of, like, magical realism. Mm-hmm. So it was, like, kind of random stuff that would happen that didn't make sense. And then it was, like, people you thought were dead changed their face and came back. And it was, like, the soap opera element of it. And this is what I kind of felt like, but, like, spooky on a lake. Like, I was just like, oh, yeah, a person you thought for sure was dead, confirmed is dead, is somehow back, like, you know what I mean? It was kind of like those kind of things that was weird.
I think I spent so much time being like, this isn't real. Like, I didn't trust it, that by the time the book ended, I was like, so there's another answer that I missed, right? This is, okay. If you listen to Eli's story at the beginning when Catherine and Tom come over to say thank you to Casey, yes, you can buy into it. I personally just thought Eli was just being a grumpy old man telling ghost stories on the lake. So I didn't really pay attention to it. I didn't save it.
Same. I thought it was just like for conversation. Even he says, oh, it was just like for entertainment. Right. It wasn't a big thing. Yeah.
So Casey decides this is her husband. He is calling her C, which is her nickname. She knows the whole plot. And she says, cool, we getting out of here. And proceeds to untie Catherine / Lynn from the bed. And they overpower Tom, lock him in the basement, and they take off for the lake house. Mm-hmm. Personally, couldn't be me. Personally, at this point, patroom, everybody going down. Okay. I'm not asking any questions. Y'all know too much, even if this isn't actual spookiness. And y'all just happen to know the truth. Because at one point I was like, maybe they're undercovers and they're trying to get her to confess. Like the way my brain was trying to make up a logical answer as to how this is happening. Because I couldn't allow for the supernatural element, which is crazy. Because I love me a little spooky something. So Casey gets Catherine / Lynn back to her house and ties her in the bed. Now, I want everybody to remember there is a storm coming, and it is here now, which felt very metaphorical. Yeah. It felt very metaphorical for this.
Also, I kind of felt like the storm needed to happen for there to be so much chaos that they can like move around a missing person, all this stuff without people noticing.
Exactly. Now, at this point, Casey done called Eli like 3 times, and Eli ain't answered. So then I started saying, Eli, are you in on this? What's happening? Eli, call me back. Call me back. So Casey has decided that if this is her husband, she gonna get answers for the missing girls. Where they at? Let their families have peace. And Lynn is like, I don't care. I'm here. I'm back. This is my second chance. Lynn, couldn't be me. Couldn't be me.
Question. This is such a little detail, but that whole like, oh, I'm a hot woman, my life's gonna be so easy, like rant thing that happened, like, what were your thoughts on that?
I don't know if you can see my face, but I'm disgusted.
It was one of the few instances in the book where I'm just like,
but it made sense for the character.
It felt so randomly preachy in a like a murder book. Like,
it made sense for the character though, because at this point he's like, I've gotten away with multiple murders, because you find out he was out here killing hookers.
Yeah. Well, no, he wasn't killing the hookers. He wanted to, but he didn't.
Yes. And then he killed these girls. And he was getting away with it. He basically says in the book, I sent you to get the lighter as a test to see if you would find the clues, and if you did, what would you do with them? Mm-hmm. So, in a way, he thinks he's golden. And now coming back as a supermodel, so many doors are now open to him to do whatever the hell he feels like. So, yes, it felt weird and random, but also, homie's a killer. So, like, I think on the list of problems we have, that monologue doesn't really rank in the top 3. You know what I'm saying?
Got you. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Now, in the midst of Casey and her husband / best friend having all these conversations, the power goes out.
Yeah.
It was at this point I said, Jay is gonna kill me for making her read this book, because I know she's sitting there going, turn the lights on.
I honestly didn't get scared until she went back in the room, and I was like, damn it.
So she goes into the room and finds that her husband / best friend is no longer tied to the bed in which she left them in, and it is now creeping around a pitch black house. What like it ain't nothing.
Also, my biggest thing too is like, remember, Lynn knows the house.
Yep.
It's not like Catherine does it. Like, no, it's Lynn at this point. he knows every nook and cranny of that house. And I thought that was kind of the most terrifying part, is that he doesn't have to be like, oh, what's this room? No, he knows.
Now, once again, couldn't be me. You're not going to be in my house trying to kill me in the dark. You going to have to come find me like hide and seek. Okay, I'm not moving around. Good luck. The lights come on, and homie's behind her.
Yeah.
They start tussling. And it was at this point that I said, wouldn't it have just been easier to just stabby stab when you had the knife? I'm confused. But old man Eli shows up and saves the day. Eli helps get this person tied to a chair. And then Casey has to tell Eli everything. Now, I'm going to say this. Props to Eli for believing all that is going on. Because, Jay, I'm telling you right now, if I show up to your house and you're a known alcoholic and you spew this entire story and I say, how much have you had to drink? And you said, everything.
Like 8? Yeah.
The only phrase that's going to come out my mouth is, Jay, don't piss me off. Which, for anybody who don't know, that means you've already pissed me off. And I'm trying to calm down right now. Could you believe that Eli really believed the nonsense? Because we don't get to hear the conversation that helps Eli believe it, which made me really intrigued. But I just was curious what your thoughts were at this point.
It was a lot. It was a lot going on. Tom was still in the basement, locked in the place that they were just at. Boone is next door mad because she wouldn't kiss him. And it was just a lot. It was a lot going on. It was a lot going on. The storm that everyone was talking about was so bad. Wasn't causing any damage. It was just loud outside.
The power went out.
A lot going on. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Broken trees, lamps. It's just the house that lamps fell.
I was just at the point where I was trying to just figure out, like, what happens. Because...
you were stressed.
Okay. I was trying to get through it.
So...
there were no active thoughts at that point. It was just like...
that's fair.
Okay, what's next?
So Casey gives Eli the plan. And I'm going to put the plan in quotes. Casey has decided she's going to take her husband / best friend out on a boat. And she's going to figure out what he did with the missing girls. Once again, couldn't be me. We're not going back on that water. Clearly the water has problems. I don't know why we're trying to go out in the middle of a storm, but can't be me.
That was my part. I was like, why are you going back on the water, girl? Get your ass back on land.
I'm telling you right now, I would have pulled out my little pocket holy water and just said Santa Santa. Like, we're not going on the lake, okay? I will take out my rosary and say some prayers, but I'm not. This is why. No, couldn't be me. But either way, Eli is sent to go distract Boone so Boone doesn't see Catherine on this boat. And Casey takes Catherine / her husband out on the water and they have a conversation. And she finds out where the girls are and then convinces her husband to take over her body through a kiss, which at this point I said, you did all this work to come back and now you're about to get bested by your wife who already bested you once? You an idiot.
Well, this was the thing. It wasn't like she convinced him. She basically like started the interaction and then kind of just convinced him while it was already happening. I don't think she was kind of like, hey, we're going to do this. It was kind of like, I'm forcing this thing and then I can just kind of keep convincing you to let it
Hear me out. If you kill me, I find a way to come back. I'm not trusting you with what day of the week it is when we're both looking at the same calendar. Okay?
I'm about to say, I ain't getting no boat with you.
All I'm saying is,
we started this.
I wouldn't trust you to order me a Coke and some fries at McDonald's if I managed to make my way back onto this earth. Okay?
Right.
So for him to trust her in all this chaos was wild. But she manages to get his spirit into her body. And Catherine, poor white lady, woke up and said, what's going on? Just to see her new best friend wrapping an anchor around her ankles. The way I would have just said, if we could just press pause real quick. Just pause. What are we doing? What are we doing?
I'd have been like, all right, cool, I'm going to swim back to shore because I don't want no parts of this.
I'm not getting in the water. You need to explain to me what is going on. So Casey spouts off instructions. All right, you're going to go to the land. You're going to talk to Eli. You're going to call the police. This is what you're going to do. Da-da-da-da-da. Couldn't be me. Then Casey goes, it's a wrap. Takes the anchor off the side of the boat. At this point, I'm tired. Riley, I'm emotionally and physically tired. You can hear it in my voice. Casey says her goodbyes in the water. Her husband's like, no, not again. And I was like, yes, again, you idiot. You trust her. You're an idiot. From there, she is described as if she opens her mouth and tries to take in water, and she feels him leave her body. And then things go dark. I said, all right, cool. So the last chapter is just life on the lake afterwards, maybe from Catherine's point of view. Wrong. We're not done. We still got story to tell. Catherine, couldn't be me, decided to hop in the water and save her friend just like the way we started. And I said, wow, that's crazy. You a good friend. You a good friend. Because once again, couldn't be me.
You were trying to save me, Chelsie?
Listen, you looked me dead in my eyes and said you was taking one for the team. Take one for the team. You didn't ask me to take one for the team. I'd already taken one for the team. So, Catherine saves Casey, and they row back to shore. And then Tom, Casey, and Catherine, if I'm putting this triangle together, come up with a story to explain what has been going on. Wilma, God bless, because I wouldn't be filing that paperwork. I don't even know what form you would need to figure this one out. Wilma takes the story. She said, all right, you know what? Everybody happy, everybody safe. I got a daughter. Then Casey says, Wilma, get in the boat. Couldn't be me. I'm not getting back on that water. I will just give you the coordinates. I'm not getting back on that water. And they rowed a boat out. And Casey says, listen, my husband did it. Here you go. And Wilma says, you know what? No need to reopen that case. None of my business. You did what you had to do. I get it. And you know what? Much respect. What were your thoughts at this point? Did you really think Wilma was going to let it go?
Yes, because we had that that example with Moon, that she was willing to bend the law for the correct reason.
It's fair.
Here was the frustration. This was the frustration that I had. At this point, I feel like we still had some unanswered questions. Not Len, but with Catherine and Tom still, right? Like, all the research and stuff that they had uncovered were all still relevant. But now all of a sudden, oh yeah, well Len came out the lake, so that's the answer to everything. So there were still a couple like
Well,
outstanding questions for me.
well, it was kind of like Casey assumed that it was Lynn doing all the Google searches and the reason between about the fights between Tom and Catherine. And so it's kind of like, oh, it was all caused by the possession that happened.
Okay, like I said, I still felt like we had some outstanding questions. What was interesting is if I'm Catherine and I have had now multiple death/near-death experiences at this lake, I'm going to Manhattan. Why am I still in Vermont? Like, that was the thing that made me mad. I was like, girl, leave. Okay, yeah.
They palm colored.
Yeah.
She
like,
thinks
that just
her
made me
husband still
so
loves
mad.
her. Everything is fixed. Which, okay, girl. So,
okay.
So, Casey tries to get back to normal life. But she's sitting there on her deck and she says, if 2 + 2 = 4, this not adding up. And immediately grabs the binoculars to be a stalker once more. And finds Catherine getting ready to have a nice little $5,000 glass of wine. But can't find Tom. And I was like, wow, that's crazy. Not crazy at all, because the 2 + 2 didn't equal 4. It equaled 8. All of a sudden, Tom's behind her. He says, put the binoculars down. While he was hitting his palm with the bottle of wine, it felt very weird. I think it was supposed to be sinister, but it didn't come off that way.
Okay, yeah. I literally was like, why does he keep doing that?
He was trying to, like, be, like, scary about it with this. And I was like, you just look stupid. Either you're going to kill her or not. Move on. So, Tom and Casey have a conversation about how Catherine has to go. And Casey, you're in the way, so you now have to go. And I said, wow, that's crazy that the thing I called back on page 40 is finally coming full circle at almost 300 pages. I digress. So, Tom tries to take Casey out, and they end up in the lake. Which at that point, can we hit pause and just take it back to land? 'Cause no. The way I would have tuck and rolled back onto dry land, because you not getting me in this water.
We're not doing the lake again. Like, how?
Right. When she said the water was up to her knees, I said, but why?
I was like, why are you in it?
So, Casey manages to get the best of Tom and smacks the hell out of him. And cracks his skull open, and he goes face first into the water. At this point, my stress level, which was already at an 8, is now at a 10, because he is face down in the water. And I said,
we know who in the water.
Said, wow, that's crazy that we playing in this water like it ain't got its problems. Okay? And as I suspected, here comes Leonard. At least, is his name Leonard? Am I just making that up?
His name is Leonard.
Okay. I was like, am I just deciding that? So Lenny come, and he take over Tom's
he
body.
Was like, hey, girl.
I said, wow, 2 douches for the price of 1.
They are more pee in the pod, though.
Man. And he said, we have to stop meeting like this. I said, we ain't meeting. You got to go.
I was like, literally as soon as he popped up, I was like, can you kill him on land, please?
So...
don't even do it on the dock. That's too close. The wood is in the water. Take it further out.
So, Casey all of a sudden finds some hood instincts on the very last page. Breaks the bottle of wine, and jab, jab, jab in the throat. He says, ain't nobody gonna be talking now. And the cops come. Everybody's okay. Everybody's safe. And I said, are we safe though? Are we? Because I'm tired. And we get the final chapter, which is called Later. And it's, I don't remember, it's months into the future.
It's New Year's. So all this lake stuff happened in October, and now it's New Year's.
I'm glad you remembered. Because I didn't. I was like, how many months? I don't know. Is it a year? I don't know. Boone and Casey, now they bumping and grinding. Eli still ain't gotten caught for giving Casey all the alcohol while she been at this lake house. The whole family done moved back into the lake house, and we pretended we one happy family. The girls were found in the lake. Everybody had funerals. We put a bow on a story that made me tired. I think it aged me 5 years.
It was a lot. I understand and appreciate that chapter to wrap things up, but I also didn't love how it was wrapped up, if I'm being honest.
I need you to give me words.
Okay. So Casey is now sober. Like, literally the day the whole Tom thing, like, she literally went to go drink, and she was like, you know what? Every liquor down the drain. Which, okay, fine, whatever. I like that her journey has gotten her back to a better place of being, like, healthy and stable. But the thing that frustrated me a little bit in that regard was, we assumed we knew why she was drinking, like, the whole story. Like, and it was because, you know, the love of her life, her husband died, and she was, like, traumatized by that. What we actually end up finding out is that the love of her life, yes, husband died, but she killed him because she realized that he was a serial killer, which is a lot heavier, which is like, yeah, girl, I get it now. So... I kind of felt that now that she had the closure of just all the things, like, she talked about that. Like, she was like, it was the closure that was the thing that was keeping her up, right? And it was mostly the fact that while she took something into her own hands in terms of making sure a killer could no longer kill, is that she also had 3 families in limbo of them not ever knowing what's going on with their daughter.
Right.
Because... they're still considered missing. They don't know exactly for sure. So it was the closure thing. So I'm like, now that you had the closure, I did find it a little bit weird. And granted, her being sober is completely, like, fine. There's nothing wrong with that, right? I just didn't love that it was such a turn of, she was like, oh yeah, I still crave drinking and everything like that. I go to AA meetings now. I kind of just felt like it would have been less severe if she just reduced her level of drinking, because she was no longer drinking out of guilt and all those things. And it was just like a much more healthier consumption of it, where it was social again. Like, even Len mentioned, is like she could have a glass or 2 and that was normal for her, versus like the 8+ in a day. So I don't know. I just feel like maybe that was like a boon. What do you call that? Not interaction, like, not reference. But implementation.
Remember, she already had a drinking problem before this. Like, she had gone to rehab once or twice, like, multiple times.
I thought she went to rehab for drugs.
Well, that's what I'm saying, is, like, she's an addict already.
Okay.
The whole idea of, like, oh, I'm sober from this thing, but I'm not sober from this thing, is like a farce, if we're being completely honest about sobriety in general. Because a lot of times people will transfer their addiction to something else. That's why a lot of sober people smoke. That's what they've transferred it to. So,
no, that makes more sense. Okay.
Yeah. So when her dad died and she was just doing whatever to feel whatever, her mom sent her to rehab multiple times. And then she came back and she was like, I'm happy it happened, blah, 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 blah. And then, of course, her serial killer husband is going to allow her to have a beverage. He's like, just go do what you got to do and leave me alone so I could go do what I want to do. But if that was her new coping mechanism, she couldn't reduce it to just 1 or 2. She had to reduce it all the way, or she was just going to spiral back into it.
No, that makes a lot more sense. I did forget that she had other substance abuse earlier. For me, like I said, it just kind of felt like it was more of you're sober because of Boone versus because of yourself. But now that actually does make more sense. I did forget about that story note.
And I don't think she was sober because of Boone, because like Boone was like, "Hey, you want to go to AA?" and she was like, "I don't think so."
No, I felt like it was. I mean, I felt like it was the traumatics and all the thing, and like I said, like the closure of it allowed her to have peace. Like she was drinking to numb things, right? So I think it allowed her to have peace that she can kind of like function without it. But I just think that they made such a big deal about her. Like I said, I did forget about her other substance abuse, but they made such a big deal about her drinking and her being so adamant about like it's on my terms. I can stop if I didn't. Like, and for her, it felt like the reason why she wasn't was because she wasn't having peace because she had this stuff on her heart. But yeah, no, that's just me looking at it from a different perspective. That is incorrect because I did forget about her other substance abuse. I don't know. It just felt weird because I feel like Marnie and the mom, we hadn't really met them in person yet. The entire story, all of their interactions were over the phone or in a flashback of what they used to do as kids or whatever the case may be. And now they're just like here at the house, like after all this drama. And I was just like, again, y'all have a upper West Side apartment. Why are you here in the Killer Lake's place? Like, go to Manhattan. And they're like, oh, the paparazzi, stay in your penthouse by yourself versus staying at the Killer Lake by yourself. Like, I don't know. I just felt like, and also like Manhattan isn't the only place you could go. You could have gone, like, I just felt like there were so many other options.
While I feel like her mom and her sister didn't need to be in that like final chapter whatsoever, I did love that the end of that final chapter is Casey saying, I'm here so that if anything else pops off, I'm ready to rock it. And I think that is the important piece to that there is like, there's only a select few of people who know what really goes down on that lake. So if all of them move away, who's going to be there? Who's going to be there to protect the people? So while I would not allow my family to move out to that lake, best believe I'm keeping my eyes on it. But once again, y'all, if you hadn't caught the theme, couldn't be me. Couldn't be me. None of this could have been me.
And yeah, I feel like we spent the entire book suspecting Tom and all this stuff like that for the dead
rightfully so.
Pop up. No, right. But I felt like we got so distracted with the dead husband popping up out of the lake to then now come back to the end of it and being like, oh wait, no, our suspicions were all correct and he was the problem the whole time. And maybe just a misdirection. Again, it's one of those things where I'm like, there's a reason I don't like to read this type of stuff. Like I feel like this would be a really juicy like TV show too. I don't think I would watch it, but I think I'd watch the promos and be like, ooh, what happens next? But it was
a question for you though.
Uh-huh.
If we had spent so much of the time questioning Tom and then it wasn't wrapped up at all, would you be upset?
Yeah.
Because that's the alternative to all of this is like either we get
It didn't even have to be Tom. It didn't even have to be Tom. We just needed correct answers to some of the questions. But I don't know. Also, how did Tom get in the house? Especially quiet. All the doors that were open creak. So how did he get in her house quietly? Like, I feel like there's still some unanswered questions.
Like in that final scene, how did he get in there?
Yeah.
Because she was too busy trying to find her friend and call her friend. She was focused. She wasn't paying attention to her surroundings because once again, she palm colored.
Yeah.
Well, Jay, it is that time of the episode that you love.
My
so much.
Favorite time. Yeah, I got my rating.
What?
I have my rating.
What'd you say? You have it?
I said I have my... Yeah, I have it. Okay. Which I always say, when I have it before we do this, it's... I'm rating it a 3. I don't think it was bad. I'm definitely not rereading it. I was locked into the story. So from a scary perspective, I only stopped once. I was reading it, and I started in the day. No, I did really good. I started in the daytime, and I was reading it, and it was good. And then I was like, I'm a little creeped out, so I'm gonna stop. And it was so silly when I stopped too, because I was like, I'm a little creepy, and then I was just like, I don't have anything to do because my plan was to read, and now I can't read. And then I was like, I need another book to replace it. Literally, my Libby just expired the 2 audiobooks I had on there that I'd already read. I couldn't read, and I was like, so I kind of had to just like play video games enough to forget some stuff to go to sleep, and then I had to get up early, so it was a whole thing. And then in the morning, I was like, okay, cool, it's daytime. Let me start back with the book. Kind of forgetting where I stopped, and then I was like, oh, and I was like, all right, yeah, let's get into it. Whatever. But like I said, I did not love the way it time jumped. I'm still a little bit confused.
I knew you were gonna hate that part.
Yeah, I'm still a little confused as to how they chopped up the timeline. But with that being said, I thought it was engaging and juicy through most of it. It was interesting how you were like, oh, it was slow for like a good chunk and then it got popping, where I felt like it started off like high stakes, a drowning person in the lake, and I feel like it was engaging throughout. Like I said, the only reason I put the book down was because of spookiness. It wasn't because I was bored or struggling. It was because it was spooky. And once I picked it back up, like, I kept going. So I thought it was an engaging book. I didn't have any issues too much. Like, the things that I didn't like in it, I think made sense to not like. Right. Like, when homegirl went in the basement by herself when she heard noises, I wanted to hit her on the back of the head. But, like, that was the only thing that really had, like, you know, the tingling up my spine, where I was like, why would you do that? That's dumb. Don't do that. But everything else was just felt like it was an engaging part of the book. So, yeah, for me, I think it's 3 stars. I'm not rereading it, but there's nothing I would really, like, want to fix in the book too much. Right. But I don't think it was bad. It's just, I'm just not the audience for it, so that's all.
Fair. I'm giving it a 3.5. I didn't love the paranormal plot twist purely because we only have one moment about paranormal before we get that plot twist. And so I felt like it wasn't built upon enough for me to, like, willingly accept that this was the answer.
Was that the Eli element? Yeah. That introduced it? Okay, cool. When it popped up, I was like, is this just really random? And that's why it's just in her mind. But then she dismissed that it was just in her mind, and it was just generally a little confusing, I guess, to also follow. And then I was kind of just like, oh, well, they did tell us there were souls and reflections, so that's I couldn't remember where I read that in the book, but I just remembered it. They mentioned that, and I think I agree with you. I think that I would have wanted that to be a little bit more established, maybe, but I just knew I had read that. I just couldn't remember, like, where or why.
Yeah, so, like, for me, it just felt like the paranormal aspect wasn't built upon enough. Even if it was, like, my grandma used to believe in, or, like, something, other than Eli's story, I could have let it rock. But, like, for me, that just wasn't. I spent so much time being like, this part isn't real and it's just caused by her drunkenness, that, like, I couldn't buy into it until it was too late.
Got you. Okay.
Other than that, for me, the front half was slow purely because we started with such, like, an intense moment of her saving someone, and then we go to building. And I always hate in books where we start fast and then we slow the hell down. Like, it feels like someone pulled the e-brake for me.
I actually would have preferred had they built the world of her in Manhattan first, then sent to the lake, and then... Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, like, I didn't need her, like, world in Manhattan or anything like that. I just needed it to either we're going to start slow and build up to it, or we're going to start fast and stay in the fast lane. I don't like it when we toggle back and forth. So when we...
Got you. Yeah.
When we got to her following Tom into the neighbor's house, that's when I fully locked back in. Up until that point, it was like half my brain was working on this story. But I mean, I would at least say, hey, if you're looking for a thriller, here's an option. You know, I'm not going to stop anyone else from reading it. But it wasn't enough for me to say this is a amazing book and it's a 4. It just wasn't there.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
Well, Jay, I got some good news for you. Spooky season's over. So, you're free for another year.
I made it for another year.
2026, I make no promises. But now it's holiday season, which means it's all safe reads for you. And I'm going to be the one sitting here going, nothing happened.
I actually have one that I think I'm gonna rec for you and see how you do with it. I'm nervous.
Okay. Well, if you've made it this far in the podcast, thanks for coming back, y'all. We missed you. I hope you missed us. We're headed into the holidays, so I'm gonna just say this: take care of you, because the holidays are stressful and they can mean a lot for a lot of people. So always make sure that you are taking care of your mental health. If you need to come with a code word to leave family dinners, go ahead and do it. My brother and I use peanut butter. So there you go. We don't know what's next. So we will catch you in the next one. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And we're going to figure this one out together. So see you next time, guys. Peace.
Bye.